In our system now, I'm going to go over the 4 jurisdictions. And those 4 jurisdictions begin with the Creator. The first published document of the American people says that we are endowed by our Creator with certain unalienable rights, and it's self-evident. In other words, I don't have to tell you that there's a Creator and that we have those rights extended to us from Him. As a matter of fact, I have had some discussions with atheists, and I said, brother, you've got more faith than I do. You believe something came from nothing. Just that simple. If something can come from nothing, then amen, you just go right ahead and believe it. All right, we have unalienable rights granted to us by the Creator, the people, common noun now. Colossians 1:13, private jurisdiction. Go look that up. That's part of your notes and your homework. I've looked all this stuff up. Now, if you go back to the Human Rights Declaration of the 1700s in France, you will find that they have inalienable rights. Inalienable rights in a legal dictionary are those rights which the possessor may give away. In our declaration, it says we have unalienable rights, and if you go to the legal dictionary and look it up, those are rights which the possessor may not give away. So Esau gave away his inalienable rights for a bowl of soup. Okay, the same person actually wrote both declarations of right. That was Thomas Jefferson. He went to France and wrote the Declaration of Human Rights. What's inherent in mankind? A sinful and degenerate nature. So he was playing to the wisdom of those people in France who had declared that atheism was the rule of the day, and he knew that they would not accept the concept that the Creator has granted rights, so these were human rights. And if you follow this down in the literature, you will find that all of the United Nations documents reference inalienable rights and not unalienable rights. It is true that you will find inalienable rights sometimes used in other parts of state constitutions, but that beginning of this country is specific in unalienable. And I've hyphenated it because I want to make the point that that which the Creator has granted to us, no entity of man or any man has the right or authority to place a lien against which the Creator has given us. So you can see the big difference between inalienable and unalienable. Now, the state governments were created by the people, and we transferred certain obligations and responsibilities to those officers in that state government. We can't transfer rights. We can't transfer that which the Creator gave us. So we transferred obligations and responsibility to the state governments through a state constitution. Now notice how that word, the people, is capitalized. So these are representatives from the state government who created the federal government and in turn transferred obligations and responsibilities specific to the federal government. Now, the best example of what I'm about to tell you is in Katz versus the United States. K-A-T-Z versus the United States. Supreme Court case of 1967. You see, you and I can't look up into our Creator's jurisdiction. We can't even see His footstool. In like turn, the state government officials cannot see into our private jurisdiction. They can see into our personal property and real estate, but they can't see into our private jurisdiction. And in Katz versus the United States, there was an individual that went into a phone booth back in 1967, and I don't see anybody young here. But a phone booth is this tall, has glass.
Superman, yeah.
So, the agent for the federal government wiretapped this individual when he went into that phone booth and used it to secure a conviction against this individual. And Mr. Katz went all the way to the Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court ruled that he had a reasonable expectation of privacy when he closed the door, even though the phone booth has glass in it and it is in the mall, a public area. Reasonable expectation of privacy. The agent of the government could not see into his private jurisdiction. Private jurisdiction. That's where you are. And it goes back to Colossians 1:13. All of this is biblical. We just don't know the premise upon which it is based and how we can still use this to our benefit. I mean, this was providentially blessed upon our forefathers, and I don't know that they were aware of all this, and certainly I wasn't until I began to look at it. So now, the people, common noun, created the United States. Look how that's spelled, the United States. I'm not referencing the United States government in Washington, D.C. I'm talking about the United States collectively. I'm talking about all 50 states in the Union. When I spell it this way, this is grammatically correct. Then the state governments, through the Articles of Confederation in 1777, created the federal government by sending their representative, which would be a capital P, and they created the United States of America. Now, if you go to the Articles of Confederation, right after the beginning couple of paragraphs, it says the style of this government shall be the United States of America. So clearly that government was created back before the federal Constitution. I think most people would think that the federal Constitution created the federal government, but indeed it had been created a year or so prior to the Constitution that we know. These are separate governments with separate jurisdictions. Quite simply, we don't understand that, and we are allowing our agent being the state governors, to shirk their responsibility and